Hi, I'm Adam Waddell and welcome to Introduction to Guitar Pedals. First of all, we're going to talk about the chorus pedal. Now the chorus pedal is on almost every guitarist pedal board, if the guitarist uses a pedal board. Now what the chorus pedal does is it doubles the signal of your guitar, whatever you're playing. It will mimic it and put it slightly out of time and slightly out of tune with what you're playing. Just like when you'd have a chorus of singers, they will all be slightly out of time and out of tune with each other, but yet it always sounds bigger and more vibrant. And that's basically what this pedal gives you. Let's take a look at what it sounds like.
So, this is what the chorus pedal sounds off. So this is just a clean signal. And now with it on. Big difference.
Next, what we have here is something called the wah pedal. W-A-H, wah pedal. Now, this is effectively a tone control switch, but a very extreme one. I wouldn't recommend using this if you wanted to just put a bit more high end on your tone. I'd get a booster for that, but if you wanted to do that, just go back to your amp and boost up your tone. But for this, it rapidly sweeps through your EQ range. So if you wanted to get like a sort of very wavy wah effect, but it's the best way I can describe it, you'd use this, and it just basically takes the tone of your guitar and just allows you to sweep, is the best describing word, through the EQ that you can have, giving you a cool little effect. It also really helps boost a load of tones. So say if someone was using the wah pedal over someone doing a solo without a wah pedal, it would boost those higher frequencies because it is sweeping through those frequencies that it really pushes that solo right to the front. I've known this because I've done it myself in experience. My guitarist uses a wah pedal in the band. I don't, looking to get one, but when he uses this when I'm doing some of my lead parts, it really pushes me right to the front of the band. So it's really good for that as well. Let's see what this sounds like.
Next we have the cool wah pedal. Now, this was used very widely a lot later on, but it started with the sort of late 60s, early 70s sound with Jimi Hendrix, with stuff like Voodoo Child. But you'll hear a lot of it in like a lot of 70s cop, American cop dramas like let's try it with a bit of distortion. Metal guitarists like to use this a lot as well. I think I need to invest in one of them. Really cool, really cool. Probably one of my favourite sort of effects pedals.
Right, now we've got next a new one that's new to me. It's not my pedal, but I don't use it, but it's called a phase pedal. Now, not a lot of guitarists use these, but they are still widely used. Originally, it was created so it would sound like the rotating organ speakers, and what it actually effectively does is not too far away from what the wah does, except you don't have control over the frequencies it creates, but it will just sweep through and activate different frequencies as you play at random times, giving it that sort of wah-y sound, but it basically puts your guitar out of phase of another guitar playing without one. Let's see what this one sounds like.
Now we'll move on to the phase pedal. Now, this is where it sounds like clean signal. And now this is it with the phase on. Now I can increase or decrease the speed it happens. So this is the low setting. If I turn it up, thumbs up. There we go. One bit there. Again, with it off. Breako pedal.
Delay uses your signal and then repeatedly plays it back like quiet and quiet to basically to like a diminuendo, which makes it sound like, so if you could put like singular notes, a lot of people using solos use it, and it makes the guitar sound a lot bigger. And all it's basically doing is just slightly recording what you've just played and then just playing it back to like a quieter and quieter volume, like a diminuendo. So let's see what this one sounds like.
And now we come to one pedal that I've wanted for a while now, just haven't got around to buying one, and that is the delay pedal. Now, this is a pretty trippy pedal to be fair, and just like the phaser, I can increase and decrease the rate, so we'll start with sort of like a slow rate at the moment, but we'll start firstly with just a clean signal. Clean signal. Delay pedal. I'll increase the fingers spaced out even more now. A lot slower. of room with that pedal. You can do so much stuff with it. I think I might get one myself. Yeah, so that's the delay pedal. So now we've had a look at a few very different pedals. I was thinking I might treat you to look at some of my pedals that I use on my pedal board. So let's take a dive in there. So the first pedal on my pedal board, and what's closest to my amplifier, is a noise gate, which is a ISP decimator, which I got this recommended by another guitarist because I couldn't stand the sound, well, not the sound, the noise my amp was making, and I think it was down to either too much gain or too many pedals, and going through a data chain and going through one 9-volt plug. It could have been that as well, and this basically negates unwanted noise. It's you got like a little threshold dial here. I usually have mine set at -40. It just basically limits how much. Basically, it makes sure that the only thing that's coming through your amplifier is your signal. No fuzz or feedback or anything like that, or any like the noise of electronics in the background and stuff like that. It completely negates any of that, and just make sure that your signal comes through nice and clear. Next, right next to my ISP decimator, I have my Ibanez TS90DX Tube Screamer, and basically this has again been highly cited by many different guitarists that it's probably one of the better pedals. It's an overdrive pedal, Tube Screamer. It's named so Tube Screamer because what it actually does is when you're going through a tube amp, if you try and push the tube amp as far as you can, you'll get a load of hiss and noise that you don't want, basically. But that's because you're pushing your tubes to the absolute limit, and you'll get like a distorted sound, which a lot of obviously heavy metal guitarists, rock guitarists like. So this basically emulates that. It tricks your amplifier to think that you've pushed its tubes past its potential, and gives you a sort of distorted sound. It's not as strong as your standard distorted pedals like your Metal Zone MT2, which I do have, and stuff like that. It's more like what I use this for personally is when I'm playing and I switch a lead part, like a solo or just a sort of lead part over whatever the rhythm's playing and the bass is playing. I'll whack this on, and it makes me cut through the band quite a lot, just because it gives you a bit more high end. And you'll find that on on this particular model, there's a few TS9s out, but the DX one gives you an extra mode, an extra knob which gives you a mode. You've got Turbo, Hot, TS9 and just Plus, and that's basically, it just sets it's almost like a tone knob. I find it. There is a tone knob on it as well, but it basically boosts a higher end low rate, like a muddier sound or a more crisp, lighter sound and stuff like that, depending on which mode you're on. It's also got drive and level, which is standard to any sort of overdrive pedal. But yeah, this is a nifty little thing, is this. I really do enjoy it, and I'll show you how it sort of boosts my high end. I'll show you a little demo soon. Now this next one I couldn't pick up because it's literally fused to my board, but it's this one here. It's called the Big Muff. Now the Big Muff, the Electro Harmonix Big Muff that is, which is a bit of a classic. That it's and it's one of the original big board ones as well. That is basically another type of distortion pedal. You've got your distortion pedal, you've got an overdrive, and you've got your fuzz pedal, and this is a fuzz pedal. And you'll see the difference that sounds compared to the Tube Screamer later on when I demonstrate it. Basically gives you a bit more of a midi to low, thick sounding distortion. It's very good. It's better for like the chord. I use it mainly for like chord based stuff because it makes it sound really beefy and really big, making you sound like basically two guitars playing. It makes it sound that big. That's also got dials and stuff. It's got a volume dial, which is standard, tone and sustain. It does give you a heck of a lot of sustain, which is another reason why I use it as well, because a lot of my tone dies off really fast because of the noise gate. That is a drawback to the noise gate. You have to dial in as much to cut out all the noise you don't want, but trying to keep yourself some room where you can have some sustain still. That big muff really sort of helps out with that. With my sustain dies off too much with the decimator, the big muff will really sort of account for that. He'll bring me back, and he always does. But yeah, that's the big muff, the fuzz pedal. Last but not least, something every guitarist should have on their pedal board. Something I only recently put on after the rest of the band shouted at me for taking too long to tune up, and it's the Chromatic Tuner, made by, this one's the Boss one, which I think everyone has this, really. Pretty self-explanatory. Basically plug your guitar into it, mine's always on the board, and yep, you basically just tune your guitar. It tells you what note you're playing, how close you are to that note. Obviously if it's not too far to the, so you'll be looking that way, too far one way, you turn it to the other way with the tuning pegs. Yeah, but I think every guitarist has this, and thankfully so do I now. And it really helps if you're in a practice room or you're on stage live. You shouldn't really be doing this live, but people are messing about drum kits or guitars and they're tuning up as well. It takes just your signal. It picks up your signal in the pickups and it puts it through this. You go through this, goes all the way through to pedal board to your amp. It's also actually quite a good thing, this. You shouldn't really use it for this, but you can. Which is if you do have someone want this sound, you don't have a noise gate, and it only happens when you stop playing. As soon as you stop playing, when you finish the song, or there's a part of the song where there's a break where you don't play, click this on and it completely takes out the signal from the amp. So you're going into this and this doesn't reach the amp, if you know what I mean. So you click this on, your sound doesn't come from the amp. As soon as you're ready to play again, whether it's the beginning of the next song or you're back in with the band again, after the break, you whack this off, and then you're back through your amp again. So it's a really good way to almost like cut off your amp, or cut off your guitar to the amp, without having to go back and turn your amp off or turn it on standby and run all the way back and vice versa. So yeah, multiple use, and it's pretty much like the workhorse one, I think. But yeah, great pedal. As always, here's the clean tone. Here's the Tube Screamer. Back to clean. And this is the big muff, and just how beefy and meaty it sounds. That's us staying with the decimator on. Decimator off. Now, the decimator only does really shines when you're on like full power, like really pushing it, like pushing your amp, pushing your valves. These pedals are completely, you know, going mental, and that's really when that shines. Doesn't really do much on clean either. It's mainly for if you're playing something with a dirty channel, like a distorted channel, a lot of distorted effects. That's when that really shines, because it really cuts off all the bad stuff you really don't want, like really bad fuzz and noise and stuff. You want a really clean but distorted sound. That's when it really shines. Does the noise gate, the ISP decimator. But yeah, that's my pedal board. Like I say, the two ones I really use are the Tube Screamer and the Big Muff. Tuner's there to make sure I'm in tune, and the ISP decimator's there to make sure that there's no nasty sound for the audience or for myself, making sure that everything I play sounds nice and clean and exactly what's being played on the fretboard, and nothing else. No fret buzz, no hiss, no feedback or anything like that. So yeah, thanks for watching.